Venues are closing across the city or on the threat of closing. There's a lot of campaigns going on around the city to try to save these venues. And one of the venues is Tim's Tavern. And so director, producer extraordinaire, Alia Di Alessandro, caught up with Shaina over at Tim's Tavern. And Tim's Tavern is actually having a big fundraiser tomorrow, big live stream and everything else. And so this is Alia's work. A lot of times Alia's actually a director here. She's been directing the morning show, her and Daryl, for quite a while, been directing the show, and there goes Alia in the back screen. But she's been directing the show, but this is the first time that we actually get to see Alia's work on screen. So we're gonna play this clip right here, and then hopefully on the back end of that, we'll be able to get Shaina so she can talk about it a little bit more. And again, just to intro this video, Converge, man, like I said, we love music. We're all about the music and everything else. We want to do our part to save venues across the city and drive attention to what people are doing. And so this is 2-in-1, awareness around Tim's Tavern and also spotlighting Shaina Shepherd.
My name is Mason Reed. I'm a co-owner of Tim's Tavern. This is Wiley from Bricolage Studios. Tim's has been around since 1936 officially, but there's rumors that it was a speakeasy during Prohibition. The bar had several different names throughout the years, but it became Tim's in 2012 when it was purchased by the former owner, who turned it into Tim's Tavern. He knocked out the wall, added the stage. Matthew and I purchased the bar in 2016 and started doing live music every night of the week and really turned it into the venue that it is today.
With his heart back home and his hands in the ground, he found his riches.
We like to consider ourselves an incubator of sorts. A lot of bands play their very first show here. They develop, they kind of sharpen their teeth and refine their chops, so to speak. And we're proud of that. You know, we're a little place. It's a place where a band can come if they can't sell out the Tractor Tavern or they can't sell out the Sunset. They can come to Tim's and get a start and know that there's a stage here and an eager audience.
This is the first bar I ever performed in. It's the first bar my band ever performed in, Barracks. It's the first bar I ever had a one-night stand out of. When Barracks did our first show, this stage here was way shallower. Like where this beam is right here, it was like, and like we are used to rehearsing like in a giant, not a garage, like in a giant warehouse. So we were up here clambered together and like, I was like, we all got dolled up and we were like really excited and nervous. This is the neighborhood bar, right? There's like neighborhood people drinking here, having a good time. People coming in to see a show, whether they know you're here or not. And then just people like, hey, be great. Be great. I've been here all day. So we get up here and we start garage rocking. At first people were like haters. It felt like one of those stand-up comedy shows where you're like, you have people sitting right there and I'm like trying to banter. I've never bantered. What are you gonna say? And I'm like, I like your hat. And they're like out here, like this girl, she's trying her best. These guys, they're in here. They're gonna make something of themselves. And that's kind of that was such a gift.
You'll see a lot of band members or members of other bands coming to support shows or just hanging out here in the afternoon.
When Tim's closed, that was a place where like, okay, my battery is not gonna be charged. It just feels like if you're an artist, this is where you can come and just actually be an artist off duty and not be an artist that's networking or an artist that's thinking about the next thing. It's just like when you go into like a new friend's house, the extra care and extra caricatures that have been placed to create a specific vibe, to create a specific sense of home, that's been done here. And that is what you carry to every show. That's what you carry to every show. To like, if we go on tour for 17 days and then we come back home, I'm having a drink here because I can sit in the back and listen to somebody else's story and also feel like this is a home base for my artistry, for my art self, my art Shaina,
So we started streaming like March 18th or something, and did about 40 shows, all from home. And then slowly, when we felt safe, we started moving them into the bar itself.
We're trying to keep the musical ecosystem alive, so it's a place where bands can play, where they can express themselves creatively, and also make a little bit of a paycheck. Save Tim's Fest is this Saturday, the 17th of October. It starts at 2 o'clock, and I believe it's going to go all day long. We have over 70 local bands and some national and international acts as well. So we're really looking forward to Save Tim's Fest. And then after that, we're going to start our weekly live streams. You can get all the information you need at savetims.com.
All right, savetims.com. That's tomorrow. We're gonna try this again. You got your fingers crossed, Trey? we're gonna try.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see if we can bring in Shaina.
Hello,
Shaina.
everybody.
Hey, there it is. So first thing I have to say is you give a whole new meaning to Black Girls Rock.
Thank you, Amari. That means a lot. Thank you very much. That's the goal.
Yeah, and big shout out to producer director Alia De Alessandro. And this was her first time. She directs the show from behind the scenes. So this is our first time seeing her work on screen. And man, you guys look and sound great.
Right there. See, that's the best part about Alia is she gets the artist perspective. She's an amazing artist, rock and roller. So she gets it and she puts it in a great story. Happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great piece, Alia.
Tell us before we talk about what's going on at Tim's. Tell us what's the ecosystem right now for live performing artists like yourself since COVID. What are you guys going through?
Child, it's like they went and they took everything from you. Like people are always, my friends that are not artists are like, okay, so you can't make music anymore. What's your next step? And it is kind of earth-shattering when not only your passion, your hobby, your fellowship, your church, your everything has been taken away without live music, and even the sense of possibility itself, and for the next steps for what you want to see the world to look like, that's uncertain as well. So I think right now it feels a little bit different now. I feel like people are trying to revive our music community and get really inventive and innovative with how to continue the journey, but it's about to be a journey, baby.
Right, and
For
how
sure.
much has? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a question, Trey?
No, go ahead. I just was agreeing.
Yeah, she was giving me the Black Girls Rock right there.
Okay. That's that Black girl magic. Let me tell you.
Right, that's just
let me let you. Hold on.
Oh,
That's how it should look, right? Hey, so I mean, one of the things is like we miss so many things, and like for us and me and Triana early on, one of the first things we did when everything got shut down is for like 7 weeks in a row, or this was back in March, 7 Sundays in a row, we streamed Goodie Bag, live from Black Dot Underground. Because people just hearing and seeing Goodie Bag and taking some requests, it brought a sense of comfort to our community and a little bit of normalcy. They couldn't really be there in the club or a performing venue with Goodie Bag, but they could feel it. And so, I feel like we were early adapters to this because we were streaming as soon as COVID went down. We were like, our community needs their music.
That's right.
So we were putting Goodie Bag out there. But tell me, has streaming and the possibility of streaming and reaching your fans that way, have you been able to take advantage of that? Are you doing more streaming things, or you just kind of wait and see?
I've been blessed. I've been streaming as much as I can, doing so many shows. It's an interesting thing because, like you said, it's not the same as being in the room of live music where you feel the vibration, where you have that shared moment of energy. That's so healing for people. But when you do streams, you change the culture. You're not just elaborating, on an artistic story through your music or through that energy in the moment. You're also doing it visually. So you're collaborating with visual storytellers to tell the perspective of one audience member at your show. And so there's I think that this streaming scene, or as it were, is evolving rapidly right now, which is exciting because you see people doing different. You can see the story arc of a singular show by watching their show, like Big Building Bash does shows, Work From Home. They were doing great shows. Other streaming platforms are doing great shows, and they have their own message. So when you are an audience member on that show, you can see that perspective. But as an artist, you know, I do streams with my solo band. I do streams with my rock band Barracks, you know, and then we always depends on if it's just me in my bedroom with this camera on my phone. That's an artist perspective. That's a show versus me going all the way to Nectar and supporting Nectar or Tim's Tavern, and you see it's something really incredibly visual. That's not just a collaboration of people on stage, but people off stage too, for the person that's on the other side of the phone. So.
Right, and I gotta throw this out here. I'm upset now that Alia didn't invite me. You know what I'm saying?
Look, she had all that gear by herself holding in there. She got a lot on plate.
Man, so we got a comment up here. Nathaniel Luke Pinzon. My first time seeing Bear Axe was at Hoodstock 10, and Shaina is saying one of the greatest Nirvana covers I've ever heard.
Thank you so much, Nathaniel.
Yeah,
Love you. Love Hoodstock. Love Selena Bryant. Love Audra Boo. Love Taryn Dorsey. Love all these incredible. Because rock and roll and black women in rock and roll didn't just start with me and Eva of the Incredible Black Tones. Okay, it was fostered here and from Women Rock the Arts. It is a South Seattle staple. It is our culture. Black women rocking it out and celebrating what all music is black music. Hey, all music comes from drums, and all drums come from Africa.
Yes.
Look at you. Hey, what's happening?
So true. Uplift that more. So true.
Look at this is actually how this show should.
No, you're right, Omari. And you know, me and her could black girl magic, sprinkle some great dust on me all day.
My bag real quick.
Hey, now listen, you know you winning, Shaina, when my mama makes a comment and says, "This is good." You know, I'm gonna tell you too, man. I'm glad we worked out this connection because you know this show started really, you know, and it's Feel Good Friday, but you know this show started in some kind of way because the news is the news and everything, and we was trying to shake it off, and the creep segment started to shake off, but you've just made it really feel like Feel Good Friday right now. You bring a whole new energy up in here. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about Tim's Tavern and their effort to save Tim's Tavern and what's going on tomorrow.
Well, as you saw from that beautifully crafted story that Ollie did, Tim's is home for me and for my band Barracks. The owners there, they're not just owners, they're artists themselves. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. When I walked in this bar, it's a country bar. Who would have thought that me, a black girl, first time in a music project ever, big afro, my first gig ever was in a country bar at the edge of town. And I have never felt more at home. And that's because the people at Tim's, they really get it. You know, they really get that we're just people, you know, we're not people when we're on stage. We are envisionments of our ideas and our journey. And we're sharing that moment with people. But off stage, we're just people trying to get there, you know. And Tim's gets that. And that's like one of those staples where like, that's essential, you know, because without those spaces where you can really feel like you're connected to your craft, the craft becomes so meaningless, you know. And like with that beautiful segment that Jake did about creeps, gosh, I mean, I was just watching it like everybody else, you know, but when he was talking about how he started by just bringing his community together and celebrating a shared moment of sound. And that was and he's just a filter for those perspectives. So many voices, so much history coming through his eyes. And that's what we're hearing, some amazing stuff. You know, that can't happen without artist communities like Tim's. And there aren't a lot of them left in Seattle. So that's why I just feel like I've been standing on the mountaintop preaching about something that nobody would want to hear. But I like, save Tim's. Because the next generation of Black lady rockers don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. One thing that I noticed even before COVID was that venues are disappearing. Like people who move here from other cities, they're like, man, there's so many venues here. And I'm like, no. And the way that, you know, years ago, I used to actually manage a few different rap groups, you know, Central Intelligence, Scum Life, way back in the day. And there were so many venues that like you could go and get a small venue somewhere, sell tickets to your family, basically. They come up and support you because the only way that an average average rapper becomes a good rapper and a great rapper, and probably the same with a rock band, is like, man, not people don't start off great. You go there, and it's horrible. It's 10 people, 5 walk out, but you
Right.
come back again, and you come back again, and you come back again. And the space for people to grow as artists in Seattle has continuously been getting smaller and smaller, because the number of venues that you can rock up, pack with family and friends, do your show, get your critique, we'll call it that, and come back again and grow and grow and grow. They're disappearing in Seattle. And in my opinion, you're actually in the industry, but in my opinion, a lot of bands that made it 10 years ago or 20 years ago out of here, they might not have made it out of here today, just for the lack of actual venues to go from average to good to great.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing that you say it that way, because it's not just Tim's that create those stuff. It's places like the Sea Monster, places like Roomba Notes, places like Nectar, places that like where you can have, you can have an artist community that generates and creates that verb that it takes. It's not just about having great stuff. It's about rallying people together around that shared perspective, that shared unified sound of music, so that you can go out of the city and say, this is who we are, and we know who we are,
Yeah.
and like that has to be practiced on stage. I remember being so tentative, so timid. My first show, I was at Tim's Tavern, my first show, so timid, so terrified to stand up there in front of those people, as strangers. And it was those people in that room that decided to say, you know what, we're not going to judge what we're seeing right now. We're going to judge the potential, because we have our own shared perspective. We are our own artists, even though we don't perform and we're not singing on stage. We're our own artists with our ear. And we are going to say, this is working. We're going to continue to give you a space to grow. And that's really what it's about, having that space to continue to grow.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to uplift here too, because I think it's definitely connected to this, is that, so much of what we see in our communities is about this kind of relational building. And it's clear that that's what you have with the owners at Tim's. And it's clear that a lot of these owners of specific venues that have really had their ear to the ground, really care to uplift the artistry in their communities, regardless of how obscure it may have seemed at the time. Like, that is a part of the fabric of this. Like, honestly, it is. And to hear you talk about Tim so much and your first show, it really is about building those like solid relationships. And that is another form of community. So I love hearing you say that.
Absolutely. And that community, I mean, we need those spaces. When we come back, we're all trying to work. I mean, just think about all your favorite artists are out there at home trying to figure out how to use new technology in order to just communicate with each other, let alone have communicative, creative conversations that they can craft for you at home, And it's not just Tim's that has that. I mean, that space, it's Vermilion, Capitol Hill as well. I want to just say as many of these spaces as possible, because my friends, we are struggling to stay connected in a way where we can still have artistic conversations and still explore who we are and explore our craft and build things, And so even the idea that these venues are not going to be there, it's not about having a place to gig. It's having a place to listen to each other and having, that space, that's community where you can go back and sit and be reflective and really grind the grindstone, so you can go back home and write it down and share it, So it's all of these amazing venues. It's really, and I know that we all want to save like huge venues, that we can all see shows, but I feel like it's so much more, and not more important, but it's so important that we save our hometown neighborhood venues now.
I'm gonna just throw it out there. Those small venues are important. That people, a lot of them, people never heard of because they're just neighborhood venues. Because that is the starting point. That's the starting point where you can go to the local bar in your neighborhood and be like, hey man, you know what? How can we work something out for my band or my rap group to perform here on a Friday night? Well, how are we gonna work a bar? I mean, because it's not only musicians who start and hone their craft at these small local venues. That's the artist managers, the people who end up being booking agents, people who end up being promoters and graphic designers. I mean, it's an ecosystem. Of course, the artist is the spotlight, but a lot of times this is, I was a first time green manager over there, going to a bar owner, like, man, I got this rap group. How do we work this and that and everything else? And got those skills. There's so many other ancillary businesses. Look at all the graphic designers who, when there's shows, they're designing, and you go from, I've seen people 10 years ago, it was the best they could do. do. And now they have big design agencies, and it started around this music industry. And it all started around the growth on these very small venues that, that people in one neighborhood might not know exist in another neighborhood, but that's the starting point. So while we do uplift the big venues that's out there, and let's keep uplifting them, man, let's not forget about these small venues that's given so many people their starting point in Seattle. And Seattle, we're so innovative here. John Moore, rest in peace, Sit and Spin. They went to a laundromat. They're like, man, you know what? We're gonna make this a venue. People go to a local restaurant. They'll make it to be like, Seattle people are so creative, and we just want to play. And I want to salute you, Shaina Shepherd. And I also want to say that all those years ago at Tim's Tavern, when you were just timid and nervous on stage, you ain't timid and nervous no more.
You got this.
This looks like another.
You got it, girl. You got it. All the love and uplifting, sending you spiritual light and love and energy, all the blessings.
Yes, Black Girl Magic. Hey, yeah.
Shaina, before we get out of here, man, please tell people how they can get up with you, how they can support you, and all those other good things.
Absolutely. I got a list, honey. Let me go get my bag. And the best thing that you can do for me, make my Fridays as fabulous as ever, is to go to savetims.com, please, and make a donation. I don't leave no $10 donation unless that's your 10%. Really get down in there and
dig in the bag, huh?
Yes, give with your heart over there, because that's really gonna make a lot. If you want to just see me around, I am around Shaina Shepherd Music on everything, on the website, ShainaShepherdMusic.com, Instagram, and everything. My band, Bear Axe, we are just getting in the studio. Really have a lot of incredible live performances on YouTube that you can check out, from Nectar Lounge, Vinyl Street Cafe, Tim's Tavern, our home in White Center, Washington, Wild Bill's Auto Body Shop, and so many other venues that you could just stream and watch them. And you can watch me on my stream. I'm on Freak Out Records, a Seattle-based record label for Shaina Shepherd Music. Check me out. The song "The Virus" is out now, and it's all about this crazy time. So get into it. It's shocking inspired.
All right.
And I love Converge Media so much. Thank you guys.
Look, I got two hands on that.
I watch this every week, and I love what you do. It keeps me going. Truly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also a big thank you and a big I am so proud of you to Alia de Alessandro.
Yes.
And
Tres leches forever.
Yeah, and her incredible work. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, it's almost the weekend with calligraphy. You're watching the Morning Update Show.